Hey everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. The NTIA has released a website that shows the progress that each state has made or lack of progress as far as their initial proposals that are required for BEAD. Be right back and we'll take a look at that. Thanks for joining me. Rick Husey here with Broadband Deployment News. So I wanted to show you this. I could not find I got an email from the NTIA on this because I'm signed up for their, to get their emails, but I couldn't find a press release yet about this. So I went ahead and just made a copy of my email so that we can kind of look through that. And then I was going to show you the site that they're talking about here. So you see NTIA launches BEAD initial proposal progress dashboard. They've launched a new BEAD dashboard that the public can use to monitor the progress of the states and territories as they work toward implementing the $42.45 billion Broadband Equity Access Deployment Program, BEAD program. For the first time, the public will have insights into each of the 56 eligible states and territories' progress towards submitting their initial proposals for the BEAD program by the December 27, 2023 deadline. And that deadline comes from when each state and territory was given official notice that they were going to be getting their funds, or how much they were going to be getting, I should say. And that was, I guess, I knew it was around June 30th. So around, I guess, June 27th is when they got that notice, which would mean December 27th is when they're supposed to have their initial proposals in. And those initial proposals, they are allowed to do that in two volumes. There was a volume 1 and volume 2 that had specific parts of the initial proposal that needed to be done. There were specific parts for volume 1 and then specific parts for volume 2. And the difference was that they could get volume 1 done and then be able to get started on their challenge process sooner. If they could do that, then rather do the complete volume 2 proposal. So some states have done volume 1 and 2 separately. I think there might be a state or two that did them both at the same time. So you don't have to put one first and then the next, but they are separated basically into these two volumes. You see here, let's see, initial proposals are critical plans that show how each state or territory will spend millions or billions of funding to expand high-speed internet service. And it is millions or billions because some states, Texas, I think well over $3 billion. You got other states like New Hampshire, Rhode Island, not much over the $100 million minimum for this program. And that obviously depends on how big the state is, how many people live there, how remote they are, how difficult the territories are. And of course, that's all based on how many unserved and underserved people there are in the state currently. States and territories have 180 days from June 30th. Oh, it was June 30th, so they're saying December 27th, the date on which they received official notification of their BEAD allocation to submit their initial proposal. Once NTIA approves a state's proposal, they can request at least 20% of their allocated funds. The BEAD initial proposal consists of two separate volumes. Volume 1, a state or territory's challenge process, during which a unit of local government, nonprofit organization, or broadband service provider can challenge whether a location should be eligible for BEAD grant funding. In Volume 2, the remainder of the state or territory's implementation plan as detailed in the BEAD NOFO. There's a link to the NOFO here if you want to check that. Well, there's not. I'm sorry, because this is just an image from my email. But I will go ahead and link. I forgot that it's just an image. I'll go ahead and link to the BEAD NOFO after I'm done with this, just so since I mentioned it. The dashboard contains 6 key milestones the states and territories should reach to meet the 12/27 deadline. They have to share a pre-submission draft of Volume 1 with the NTA for guidance and feedback. Then they release Volume 1 for public comment. And there's also a link on the next site I'm going to show, that's the actual dashboard, that has a link to the public comments sections and what's been put up there. So I'll mention that when I get there. They have to submit Volume 1 for NTIA approval. After that, then they need to share a pre-submission draft of Volume 2 with the NTIA for guidance and feedback. And again, they could submit both of those things at the same time. They don't have to submit these things separately. They then release Volume 2 for public comment, and then they submit Volume 2 for NTIA approval. Additionally, the dashboard also notes whether NTIA has approved each volume. While initial proposals do not need NTIA approval before 12/27, the NTIA has urged states and territories to submit their Volume 1 for approval as soon as they can. On Volume 1 approval and submission of Volume 2, a state or territory can commence their challenge process. So they have to submit, let's say they have to get approval of Volume 1, and it sounds like they have to submit Volume 2 when they can start their challenge process. States and territories are presented in order to in order of the number of milestones reached, and it will be updated weekly. So you can come up here weekly and see what's happened. These are a few highlights that they have. Louisiana, Virginia, Delaware, Kansas, and Vermont are farthest along in the process. Louisiana is now able to commence their challenge process. And they have announced that and defined what that challenge process looks like. 44 states and territories have shared Volume 1 with NTIA for guidance and feedback. 19 states and territories have shared Volume 2 with NTIA for guidance and feedback. 31 states and territories have released Volume 1 for public comment. 9 states and territories have also released Volume 2 for public comment. There is a link in this email which took me here. So I have linked to this page, BEAD Initial Proposal Progress Dashboard. I'll blow this up in a minute here, but so basically there's not much on here right now. What it consists of, I wouldn't call it a dashboard as much as a page, but what it consists of is all of the states and their progress. And again, I'll blow this up in a minute. And then down here, there's a synopsis of some of those things that we were just looking at. I'll blow this up on my screen so we can read this a little bit. So you see here, again, here's a synopsis, and it gives you a little bit more granular breakdown of what we were just talking about that was in that email that I had gotten. So you see one eligible entity has completed 7 of 8 phases. That's Louisiana. And they've been kind of ahead of the curve on this whole thing the whole time. And again, they've started their challenge process. One eligible entity has completed 6 of 8 phases. That's Virginia. 3 eligible entities, 5 of 8 phases. That's Delaware, Kansas, Vermont. Then you see 5 more have completed 4 of 8. And you've got 4 that have completed 3 of 8, 23 that have completed 2 of 8, 7 have completed 1 of 8, and then we got 12 that have not completed anything yet. They all have had to have gotten in their 5-year plan at this point. So every state and territory, as far as I know, I haven't counted them up, but they all were supposed to get in their 5-year plan prior to this, and I'm sure they all have. So that part's done, and now they're working on their initial proposal. But you see 12 of these eligible entities, and that would be states as well as territories. So you see here you've got District of Columbia, you've got Guam. I think District of Columbia, I'm sure, is counted as a state. You've got Guam, then you've got U.S. Virgin Islands, and then you've got these other states here: Alabama, Florida, Iowa, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, North Carolina, and again, Rhode Island. So those have not yet submitted anything, and that's noted on here. And I went ahead, you can open this image in another tab, which I did, and that blows it up for me right here. So this, I think, will help us see what we've got going on here. So see here again, you got Louisiana up at the top, and as we scroll over to the right here, so again, you've got their 8 different categories here. So you got Volume 1 draft shared, Volume 1 released for public comment, and then Volume 1 submitted for NTIA approval. So that's the first part, Volume 1 that has to happen there. Then you've got Volume 1 approving, and you can see, again, we're looking at Louisiana here going almost all the way. Then you've got Volume 2 draft shared, Volume 2 released for public comment, Volume 2 submitted for NTIA approval. So that's where Louisiana is currently. Interesting that, let's look at Virginia here. So Virginia has Volume 1 submitted for NTIA approval, and that is approved. And Volume 2 was submitted and approved. It's interesting that Volume 2 submitted, Volume 2 approved. Volume 1 approved by NTIA. So it doesn't show that Volume 1 has been approved. That's what I'm looking at. So for Virginia, they've got Volume 2 submitted. They have not gotten Volume 1 approved yet. So I believe that means they can't start their challenge process yet, if I was reading that correctly. But they do have Volume 2 in submitted for approval. So I think once this is approved, they can start their challenge process. That was my understanding from what we just read, was that this needs to be approved, and then that needs to be submitted, not yet approved, if they don't have to get it approved on Volume 2 to be able to start their challenge process. And again, Louisiana has done that. And you can see as we go down here, again, the way they kind of sort this is by who's got the most stuff done so far. You've got Delaware, Kansas, Vermont, Colorado, et cetera. A lot of these have got, a lot of these have got Volume 2 released for public comment. But the only 2 that so far they've got it actually approved by NTIA are right here in Louisiana, Virginia. And you've got, as we go further down here, you've got less and less stuff done. Although, again, it's interesting that we've got some that, here we've got Arkansas. So they've got Volume 1 released for public comment, and they've got Volume 2 draft shared with the NTIA, but they don't yet have Volume 1 submitted for approval. And and they don't have volume 1 approved. So I'm not sure why some of these are kind of scattered like that. So as we scroll down, you can see we get to the states and territories that have not yet done anything. Again, starting with Alabama here, and it goes alphabetical once you kind of get to this section here as to who has not yet done anything. So these states, I'm sure, states and territories, I'm sure, will start to get something into the NTIA soon. Although they do have, again, they've got till December 27th to get through this whole process. So obviously, several states here are well along their way. They've got a few things that they need to get checked off, and we've got some that have got a long way to go. But it could be, again, that they're kind of getting everything ready and they can submit both proposals at the same time, but they should not wait for a long time because they need to get that stuff approved. And again, they want to get their challenge process started because that's a big chunk of what has to be done. Is you've got to get this challenge process started so that you can get that finished up, and you've got a certain amount of time that you've got to allocate for that. And with the fast track that Louisiana is on, they are looking at early next year, according to their timeline, early next year of starting to release the first funds to subgrantees. So for those that are waiting longer, it's going to delay that amount of time. And certainly the NTIA is going to be having to take some time to go through some of these things that they've not yet received. So there you go. So this is this, I think, is a good way to keep on top of what's going on. Again, this will be updated according to the NTIA once a week, so you can go up here and check and see what else has happened, and we can kind of keep progress on that. So hopefully that's helpful for you. If so, if you give me a like on the video, I'd appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button. Click the little bell next to that to be notified when I'm live. Appreciate you joining me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.